All right, welcome to Live with Prima. I'm Sharon Laakkonen. I have a last name that long, but the guy's worth it. So I took the name and we're good to go. Nobody pronounces it correctly or spells it correctly, so just call me Sharon. I'm good with that. So we are going to do, okay, Carrie's texting me and giving me directions. I'm like, Carrie is our mod tonight, and we also have Delana Burns helping to mod, and they know everything about Prima, so you won't even have questions for me. They'll be answering them. Snap them off. Keep those girls busy tonight. So we just got back from CHA, and oh my gosh, there's so many new Prima things, and you can see some of the new art mediums. I lined them up for you guys. I just think that's so cute. I have the older release in these jars, so when I want like glass beads or mica flakes, I just grab the jar, and it kind of keeps it contained. I got to keep things contained or I feel like I'm losing it. But then we have like new micro beads up here, some glass beads, beautiful colors, and glass glitter, and I even have a couple mica powders. How fun are those? Oh gosh, those lights are going to give me some glare problems. I apologize. Anyway, mixed media is really fun. But if you don't do a lot of mixed media, or you just don't want to do art journals, let's say you're really a paper crafter, you want to do cards, tags, layouts, we want to like bridge the gap for you and just show you how to bring a little bit of mixed media into your paper crafting. And that's what I like to do. I still scrapbook layouts. That's like the majority of what I do. And I want to take some of those fun elements and kind of bring them in and marry them, which is hilarious because my layout tonight, is that a pun or what? It's about my, let's not get a glare here. That's my baby girl, Brianna, and she got married a year ago December to Will. Aren't they a cute couple? I think the closer I get to the camera, the more glare I might get on there. But let's try that. And so this has, almost everything on this page is new except the doily dies. And the little flower dies. And maybe the resin corners. But what we did is we pulled together a bunch of mixed media and then paper crafting, and we married them, ding ding, and kind of just to do a frameable layout of my daughter from her wedding. So I have a wall downstairs, and I have a bunch of layouts in Prima frames. We make wood frames in gray, vanilla, mahogany, brown, and a black, and they're all distressed just a little bit, which is perfect. And I switch those out enough, not every week, but I love doing layouts and putting them up there, and all the kids love to come over and see if they're featured, like my granddaughters especially. So I have their wedding photo. It's 5 by 7.5. It's weird, but the photographer is the one who cropped that, not me. But any 5 by 7 photo would really work. So pick a picture you love, and then I'm going to give you different tips on how you can customize with our art ingredients to pull out the colors from the layout. Okay, so I might go ahead and switch the camera down. We got a lot to cover in the next hour, so we're going to get busy. Any questions right off the bat? These wood frames are absolutely wonderful. And Brianna and Will's wedding, they did Kelly green and silver. And that's where I thought the silver micro beads and some of the greens in the Bella Rouge line really pull out the green. And I kind of picked the light blue paper because blue is very significant in weddings, right? I know, sometimes I can be a little cheesy. But when I look at the layout, I want it to mean something to me. So that's kind of the method behind my madness. Anyway, and the soft blue is a nice complementary color. And Brianna has blue eyes. Okay, enough of that. So let's get going. All right, I'm going to move the finished project and just show you. We are working with the Bella Rouge papers, and I have to apologize because I don't have all the 12 by 12s. But I have the A4 paper pad, so I can kind of go through them. My light's giving it a bit of a yellow look, so these papers are not as yellowish green in real life, and I'm sorry for that. I even have bulbs that are supposed to be showing true colors, but anyway, let me just flip through this A4 paper pad and you'll just see the pretty colors. There is a beautiful blue. I love that blue. It's like a stripe, but it's very shabby chic. The rich reds. Oh my gosh. That one's just beautiful. There's the one that I really, really like. It has a painterly look to it. And oh my gosh, look at the poppies. And we were talking at CHA that these would be really popular in England. And then I'm like, yeah, but we sell, you know, the veterans in the U.S. sell poppies every year. So if you have a veteran in your family, look at this paper line. It has the cutest little poppies. And this paper reminds me of like a Tuscany look in Italy. You know how you have the older buildings and they're distressed just perfectly from age? Hopefully I will look that good. This one reminds me of a Monet painting. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful and the colors are so rich. And what was I going to say? Oh, there's a painterly look throughout the whole line. This one looks a little more French to me. I love the music notes, the red roses thrown in there. I mean, seriously, this line is beautiful. A neutral palette. Look at this one. Little touches of blue. I just think I love it. Love it. Let's see the next one. Oh, the frame. Now these are available in 6x6 as well as 12x12. I just have the A4 pad because that's what I happen to have the most of. And then we're back to this patchwork with distress and a little bit of text. And look at that cute pattern. So lots of papers in the Bella Rouge, and that's the base for my layout. So Delena's watching. What does that mean? All right. So I took a different wedding photo. I actually thought I was printing out the same one, and lo and behold, it looks like the other one. So we're going to do a different one tonight, but it's 5 by 7.5. And I just realized when I set it down on the A4 paper pad that it fits perfectly on there. Look at that. But if you want a wider mat, you could, of course, use the whole sheet. So I think we're just going to go ahead and trim this. We want to take whatever size photo you have, you want to take about another ½ inch. And you know what? I don't really measure. I eyeball everything. It works better. Keeps me sane. All right. So we have our photo, and basically what we're going to do is use that, just the mat, as a guide of where to place everything on the layout. And we want to keep our photo extra clean. Whoops. So I'm going to like take this and go protect it right now, put it where I'm not spraying and splashing things. If I can't find my photo later, tell me it's by my Sizzix machine, okay? I'll be looking for it. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose it. Okay. So on the layout, one of the first things I tried when I got the micro beads was to try doing a stencil design with the micro beads. And yours is going to look 10 times better, because when I first did the project, I just did a stencil with paste and I lifted it up and went, I like it, but I think I want to put micro beads on top and pull out a little bit of the silver dazzle. And I put the stencil back down on top and it kind of smushed it a little. So let me show you how we're going to do it the right way. So I have some of the paper right here, and I have Jamie's Bloom Girls stencil, and I love this one. It has all kinds of different sayings on it. Isn't that cute? It's 6 by 12, and Carrie can get the numbers, but it is 980436. It's fabulous, and she has, look at all these new stencils she has. Whoops. That one is so cool. I just love it. And a big chevron. Chevron's always fun. This is the one we're using, and then there's angel wings. Really cute. Fun, fun, fun. So I took some washi tape. Oh my gosh, that glare, is it really bad? Can you guys see it? It bothers me. Anyway, I took washi tape just to stick the stencil down onto the paper so it doesn't move. And I put a little bit more on the design right below so that I don't accidentally put extra on my page. I'm going to take out a palette knife. Look, I'm getting all official. I always use my hotel room keys for this. But this is, because they're great and they're free. But I actually went and bought a real palette knife to look more official. And I'm going to be using light paste, and this is in our Finnabair Art Basics line. So it's fabulous. I heard Finn talk about the difference between paste and light paste. And I've always preferred the light paste. But you know what she said is paste is like bubble gum and light paste is like marshmallows. And I think I agree with that. It's very light and fluffy. Oh my gosh. I don't even know if you can see. It's like blinding. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's very light and fluffy, just like a marshmallow. So we're going to scoop a little bit of that out. And we're going to go ahead and apply it right over the stencil. And you don't need a ton of it. You just want to get it in there. And you know, it's really important to scrape the extra off around it because we're going to be sprinkling micro beads and we don't need them stuck everywhere on the stencil. I learned so many things by experience. Okay, so there we go. We got it on there. We used hardly any. It's very cool. Someone mentioned you can use painter's tape. I say yes. Whatever you have on hand. I happen to have washi tape. So what we're going to do now is just pick this up. We're going to set it over a catch tray. You know, I went and bought a fancy glitter tray and I've lost it already. So my daughter was over here painting, Brittany, and she needed a paint palette and she grabbed one of my Tupperware plates. I'm like, I've had these plates since the girls were little and I even have the little taco holders to match. And look what she did to it. So it's now my new catch-all tray. Yeah, those kids. So I have micro beads. They're in silver and they are fabulous. Oh my gosh, these little babies will change your life. The only thing, let me just go ahead and start sprinkling. I can talk while I sprinkle. These remind me of a 2-year-old. They're so cute and fun, but keep your eye on them. They want to run everywhere. Okay? And they're gone before you know it. I always think I have them contained and then I find them on my desk 3 days later. And it's the static electricity in the room. I know that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I kind of patted it down just to make sure it gets into that paste really well. See? They're like all over my hand already. Flying around like a 2-year-old. Pat off a bunch of that. You see, it stuck to that stencil and there was hardly any paste on there. But when we lift this up, we're going to have magic. Look how cool that looks. Okay, can you see it? Let me peel the stencil off and try and get it a little bit close. Oh my gosh, I just wrecked it. We'll do it again. So pretend that L is perfect because I wiped it with the stencil when I was pulling it off. Of course. But it really did. It got right into those lines and it stayed right there. It looks so much better than my original one where I put the paste, removed the stencil, and then went back and added the beads. I mean, seriously, it's gorgeous. It looks like you just have micro beads magically on there. So we're going to do it again, but we're going to do it with a different stencil. And you know, the ones that are stuck to your stencil here, you can rub a lot of these off. Sometimes they're just sticking because of the static cling. Some have a little bit of paste on them. That doesn't really bother me. I would totally reuse it. I'd reuse these beads. let them dry off a little bit, and then who cares if they got a little tiny bit of paste on them. If it really bothers you, just wash your stencil off and let the beads go. Okay, so we're kind of done with this one. The next one we're going to do is actually a different stencil, and I'll just show you that same technique again. I have a little bin of water that I use because normally I'm like running to the bathroom and back to wash my stencils because I don't want to ruin them. So I've got a little bit of water to put them in. So we tried it on paper with the love, and then what I want to show you another stencil, and this is the one that I used. Let me just grab it real quickly. It's already taped up so I don't get outside the lines. So this is a 6x6 mixed media stencil, and this was one of our brand new ones released at CHA too. And I wonder if they show all of them on the back. They do. Whoops. They're beautiful. They're perfect for cards and smaller projects. And I really, really love the vine. So this is the bamboo leaves, actually. I call it my vine stencil. It's 579982. I already have it prepped. I've already used this. But what we're going to do is this main vine right here. And on the layout, I have it in multiple places. Let me just show you real quick. So on the layout, I did it up here coming off of the top and over here off of the side. And what I did is I created a visual triangle with the micro beads so that your eye goes around the page naturally. It's always fun to keep that in mind. You don't have to do that, but it is fun to do. So what we're going to do is just move this stencil down and bring the vine like it's coming off of the side. So right here, okay? And there's little leaves in the middle that pop up, and you can damage your stencils if you're not too careful. So just to avoid that, I have learned to always put my paste in the direction the stencil goes. So if you have leaves that pop up, you don't want to scrape back this way. Same thing when you wash it. Just wash and use your hand going down, and you'll never pop those little pieces up. So we're going to grab a little bit of paste. And I am doing this upside down. So it's a little different. So much easier when you do it and you can watch what you're doing. You're doing right side up. But that's okay. We want you guys to be able to see everything. A little messier here. I'm like squeezing the paste in and then just go back and clean it off. Just kind of like you frost a cake. And you remember how those beads stuck? Oh my gosh, so I'm trying to clean it off the best I can without removing all the paste because I don't want those little beads running all over. How simple was that? I mean, really, it hardly takes any paste at all. And the light paste is one of my favorite things to use. It does not add weight to your project. Yet you get all that design and the dimension of whatever stencil you use. So let's go back over to our catch-all tray. I'm going to try and hold that stencil on there. You guys see this okay? I know I mentioned cake and now I want it too. It works better when you're on a flat surface to do this. I'm not holding my stencil flat against the paper. So you might want to do that. Normally I would just do it right on the big mat and then curl it up and dump the beads back into something. Okay, so let's see how this works. I'm going to pat it down a little. I think that's the trick to kind of get them smooshed into the paste a little. Now watch my beads just go flying like 2-year-olds go flying around a room. Seriously, cannot keep your eye on all of them at once. And then when we pick this, I know it looks messy, but when we pick it up, it's going to look beautiful. Look at that. Okay, I don't know if you can catch it. Carrie, let me know if you cannot see that, okay? Like text me or something. It just the beads stay right there in the design. They're not bulky, they're tiny, so they fit those intricate designs really, really, really well. Aren't those fun? And again, if you wipe out your tray and you kind of wipe down your stencil with a fabric softener sheet, you're not going to have the problems. It's winter time here and I have static all over my house right now. So that's the way you use the paste with the beads, and it's really fun. And then you just set it aside, let it air dry, and they do not fall off of your layout. You might lose a couple if you touch it, but most of them are going to stay put. So I always love that. I've had that layout. Can you hear them pinging? They're like jumping out off. Funny little beads. Now I've done that whole layout. I did a ton of it. I've done step outs, and I have a ton on my plate, and I had over a half a jar left after doing a full layout and some sampling and testing with it. So they do go a long way. Now I'm going to try and corral them back onto my plate. So I'm just going to give me a second to just sweep these babies back in to the plate because I want to reuse them. And then you want to wash your stencils because that paste does actually dry pretty quickly. There we go. Let me just get my stencil thrown in the water. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, let's try a different design. I told Carrie that I thought this would be so cool if we did it on a different kind of paper and with a different art basic. So let me try that. Oh my gosh, I have beads stuck everywhere right now. My stencil's a little sticky. Let me just go ahead and put down the stencil. Get some tape here. What we're going to do this time is, let me do a new design maybe. The one I used is a little bit old. It has a little bit of paste on it. Actually, what I'm looking for to see if I have another stencil back here that's clean, but I don't. Okay, so let me get these beads back in the jar. You can see I got my hand cupped and they like want to go. Oh my gosh. They're so cute though. You're not going to mind it. They're adorable on a page. Just like a 2-year-old. I keep saying that because a week after I did that project, I kept finding micro beads on my table. I thought I had cleaned the whole thing and I'm like, where did they come from? Okay. So let's go ahead and start a new one. And what we're going to do this time is, let me get the beads out from under that. It helps if you use a new stencil, okay? That's what I should have done, is grabbed another one. But that's okay. We're just going to experiment. So I have not tried this. So experimenting on Live with Prima for the very first time. I just want to move some of this tape. And we're going to use a new part of the stencil that's nice and clean. You know, you thought I had nails for a reason here, but that tape is like, let me be. Okay, so we're going to just do this part right here. And I think I'm going to try the 3D gloss gel. And this is so cool because it's going to dry clear. And Carrie's asking what this paper is from. Let me pull it out real quickly. It's our watercolor paper pad from the Bloom collection. Sorry, I should have said that. It's an A4 size and I love it. It holds up to any art medium. Okay, so I have our gloss gel. I'm just going to go ahead and put some on. Just want to make sure this is stuck down. It's not going to wiggle around. The gloss gel is going to keep its shape. And like it says, it's going to dry glossy. And it's a gel, it's going to dry clear. So whatever you put on top of it is going to be the only thing with color. The paper is going to be white on the back. So this could be a fail, but I think it's going to be cool. So I'm just going in there and getting this one bamboo branch. Kind of wiping off the extra. You would be much neater, of course, when you do this. Right? Let's pick a new color of micro beads. I have, let me see. I have berry. How cute is that? Let's see if this works. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to actually sprinkle these on a flat surface. Just go over the design where you put your paste. And don't be skimpy. You can shake a lot of these back into the jar. Make sure you cover it. And because we're going to press down on it. Okay, so we have that covered. Let me just wipe off my palette knife real quickly before that dries. I'm just going to press down to make sure those micro beads get into the gel. Okay? And then we're going back to our catch tray. That actually has a bit of silver left on it. So let me clean that off. We're going to pick this up and dump off some of those extra beads. And then peel this up and see what happens. So I hope it worked. I hope. Oh my gosh. Look how cute that is. Okay, if you could see this in real life, it's very sparkly and it's beautiful. Now, if you do go outside your line a little bit, you can totally scrape that off. So your design would be absolutely stunning. And that's what you can do, is take this technique, use it on any of our papers, and add any of the micro bead colors you like that match your photos. So that's the whole point of this, is we want you to be able to pick the colors that work for you. And then you're just going to let that dry. You will not see that gel behind. It will dry clear, and all you'll see is the really pretty little purple micro beads. How fun is that? Okay, let me throw that stencil in my water to get it washed, and then we got to get hustling on this layout. We're having so much fun experimenting. We're going to set that aside to dry, and hopefully by the end of the class it will be dry enough so that you can kind of see how fun it looks, and it will be all clear and everything. So I used light paste and silver micro beads on this one, and I used the 3D gloss gel. And what color was that again? The berry micro beads. They're brand new as well. So I'm going to put this stuff aside to dry. And we're going to move on to our next step. Oh my gosh, and I have micro beads. A few ran away. They're going to be my nemesis. I love the little stinkers though. They're so fun to play with. Okay. So next up, we are going to work on the backdrop of the layout. And I just want to show you real quickly. Let me pull this up just a little bit. We're going to work with a couple Prima dies and create those white flowery snowflakes that you saw in the backdrop. So I have our doily dies. These are little flower doily dies. And we're going to go ahead and let's just do one at a time. It's so much easier. All I have is printer paper, copy paper. I cut an 8.5 by 11 in half, and it fits in here perfectly. I have my cutting blade on top, and as soon as you get to know your machine, you'll know how thick it has to be to cut these really intricate dies. So I know mine really well now. I have the base, I have the cutting and buffer plates, and I just use a piece of Prima packaging as that little bit of extra cushion to make sure I get a really, really nice cut. I go through once and I always bring it back a second time. I find that with the really intricate dies, that helps me get a really nice cut. So here we have our die. And I have a cool tool, and Carrie can tell you more about this. It's by Spellbinders. It's a tool-in-one. You want to hold your die and just run the brush around. I used to cut a ton of the Prima doily dies out and then sit on the couch for an hour and poke all the holes out. And I would have confetti everywhere, but check this out. There's the confetti in my hand. And the die is, I mean, seriously, there's like no work to this. There it is. If you have a couple holes left, you can use the little poker on the other end and just pop them out. How cute is that? So we need to make 10 of those for the backdrop. And this is like a cooking show. I'm gonna pop them aside. And look here, I have the backdrop all done. Let me just move the cheesecloth. We have our love stencil here, some of the bamboo here, and some of the bamboo here. And it's all dried. I did this yesterday so that we could just move on to the next step. Now, let's say you run your dies and sometimes you misplace your paper. This is, I save them. It's the best way to do it is to use it like on the edge of a project. You don't need the whole thing to show. So I know my paper mat is going to be somewhere right here. So I'm going to place these flowers to kind of make a cascade design down the page. So I kind of am going to set them like that. And I have 5 of them because you always want an odd number, right? So what I'm going to do real quick is take soft matte gel. And this might get, we're going to do multiple steps at once. So keep up with me if you can. And let me know if you have questions, okay? Soft matte gel, I'm going to use it as a glue right now. So let me just open it up. I clean off that little protector seal all the time, every time I use it, but it still seems like I get a little bit left on there. And it's much easier to open if you wipe down that rim every time you use it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put some of the matte gel on and glue these doily flowers down. At the same time, we're going to add a bit of the glass glitter in velvet and a bit of art sugar. And all this did is create a really sparkly backdrop. When my daughter got married, we thought it might snow a little bit. It was so frosty and pretty outside. It actually rained a little, but in the pictures it looks very wintry and crisp and sparkly. And that's what you think when you think of a winter wedding. And these are some of the colors she had. So I sprinkled this in the backdrop with a little bit of the silver beads. So the ones you brushed off that might have a little paste, here's where you can sprinkle them on your project and kind of tie that silvery look in. So let's go ahead and get everything ready. I just got to find a scratch piece of paper. I like to collect the extra art mediums and kind of shake them onto a piece of paper. So that's what I'm going to try and do with this one, but since we're working really fast, I may end up mixing a bunch of them together. So we want to take a little bit of the matte gel, and you know, you can use glossy for this, it's okay. Whoops. Don't worry about patting it down too much. The copy paper is actually really delicate. Just get that gel on and move on. So I'm going to do just a little area at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle just a bit. We don't need a ton. I just had to see if it's still tacky. I think I'm putting it on too thin. I want it to dry for the show. But if I don't put it on thick enough, it won't, I don't give it enough time to let everything kind of stick to it. Actually, I think when you sprinkle sugar on, you need to use your fingers, right? It's just like baking. And this art sugar, oh my gosh, it's like magic. Super, super sparkly and very, very fine. It's different than regular glitter in that it is that extra fine look. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful when you sprinkle it. It has, the white is iridescent almost, so it just is stunning. I might come behind with the glass glitter and just do it in little areas. You can also mix your art sugar in with your gel and then paint it on. And Anna does that all the time because then it never comes off your page. I really just sprinkle on top. I'm not sure how much I want, and I don't want to be mixing everything. But both methods work. Okay. Any questions on this right now? It's so quiet in here. You guys are probably keeping Carrie and Delana busy though, right? Ask them a ton of questions. I mean, seriously, make them work. Okay, we're working our way around the photo frame. Just sprinkling the sugar everywhere because we want it to be pretty. And then I think I'll go back in certain spots and get that green glitter just in certain areas. I don't want too much to distract. It is kind of a bold color, but a little bit to kind of pull out the green. That was one of their wedding colors, the Kelly green. I didn't know what I thought of it at first, but man alive, it was beautiful. And everybody looked really good in that color. So that was really good. Okay, so all we're going to do is finish up the very tip top. So one more little sprinkling of the art sugar. And I just want to tell you guys, I've had this bottle of art sugar for, oh, I don't know. We came out with it last summer, so right before CHA, and I use it on everything. And look how long it has lasted. I have a ton left still. It is really fun. And it comes in multiple colors. There's pink. Oh gosh, help me out, Carrie. I think there's a black. I think we have 4 or 5 art sugar colors, and you have got to get them. They are really fun. Okay, a little bit more glitter. And again, look how you could customize this. Just put on the colors you had in your wedding and add a little bit of sparkle with the sugar. But seriously, the glass glitter comes in so many beautiful colors that it's easy to customize it. So what we are going to do is set this aside to dry. And I just want to point out, whenever you put an art medium on regular paper, it might buckle and warp a little bit. And I'll show you a tip that I use at the end for leveling it out. Of course, once it's dry, you can put books on it. But I like to put anything that I put a lot of mediums on a matte board. And I'll show you how I do that and stuff. So we're just going to set this aside to dry. And then I'm going to show you how I worked on the 3D flowers in the frame next. So I guess I'm not done with those micro beads. I think I have one more little project with them. So I just got to find my mat for my photo. I did ask you guys where I put it, right? Okay, so before I forget to do this, this is the photo mat. And we're going to use the gel again, but we are going to use those silver beads. Let me get those back out. I need my catch tray. And this is really fun. What we're going to do is create a framed photo mat. I mean, seriously, just paint on about an inch. Dab it on there kind of maybe a little thicker than what I actually did. I'm not doing art sugar anymore. I'm doing beads. So we can get a little bit more on there. And then my photo is going to come on this and leave just a ½ inch on the sides. You do not need a ton, and you don't want it to be perfect. But you're just going to dab those beads on. Just on the outside ½ inch or so. We don't want it to be perfect. We want it to look very shabby chic and fun. And some of mine are coming out in little clumps where you can tell I shook them back in because they had paste on them. Yours are going to be perfect. Now, if I go and I think I have too many beads, I can always brush some off. And if I think I don't have enough, I can always go back and add more beads. I mean, this is just a very simple, very forgiving technique. Look at that. So, one more side to do. We're doing all the wet techniques first so everything can dry. And then we can put it all together at the end. So this may not look very fancy, but it's going to add a really nice elegant touch with those silver micro beads, and it's going to pull them from the backdrop and provide a really classy, elegant touch to that photo. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry and then just put my micro beads away. Get that paintbrush out of there. I think we have one more thing to do with the matte gel, so I'm not going to put that away right yet. We are going to work on micro beads and one other thing. So, okay, I have a lot of techniques. I didn't realize I had so many. Are you guys getting tired of them yet? I like embellished every little piece on this project. Okay, so the next thing, we have our frame drying over here. We're going to use the soft matte gel again, and we're going to use the grass micro beads. And let's see, here we go. So when I was working on those little embellishments, I cut out some extra of the doily flowers. We're going to work on that as soon as we get these little leaves dried. So you want to pick out a cardstock that matches your layout, matches the colors in your wedding. It doesn't matter what color it is. So we were working with a Kelly green, and I have just a fun little foliage punch that I love to use. And all you do is, I punched out, I think 6 of these. This cardstock is really thin. When you're working with our art mediums, use the thickest cardstock you can find. It just will help. It'll give you more work time with your gel medium without it tearing the paper apart. This gel medium is an adhesive, so when you're adding wet to that cardstock, you are going to get it, it actually makes it a bit soft. It makes the paper soft, so you want to work fast or get a really thick one. Okay, so this is really easy to do. Let's just open up our gel medium. I thought I was done with all those, and I went, oh no, I have one more little technique to show you. I'm just going to dry off my brush real quickly. We're going to take the little leaf, hold it by its stem, just paint over it. Doesn't have to be thick. Paint over it with gel medium. See how easy that is? It would help if I opened up my micro beads first. And then just sprinkle those babies right over your little catch-all. It is so textured and so fun. I mean, you could definitely just stick the paper in like it is, but the beads make it look amazing. And you're going to want to set these on a mat to dry, not on paper because it'll stick to it. So that's it. Anybody want to see that again, or are we good? I'll do one more for you. So punch out your little foliage leaf. Paint on a bit of the gel. I have matte. You could easily use glossy. Doesn't matter. Just sprinkle your beads over it. They're just going to catch where the gel is. And you're going to get a really cool effect on this. So I did 6 of these for the layout. And those are going to go around right where the photo is, so I get a bit more attention to that and it doesn't draw away from the photo. Any questions on that? Think how cool that would be on any of your punches. A heart with maybe some of the pink glass beads, or a flower, and oh my gosh, you could have so much fun with that. And it's going to let the color of the cardstock come through. And then you're going to just double that up with the glass bead color. It's really cool. And trust me, when you have that project framed on your wall and it catches the light, all those little touches are really going to stand out. They're going to look really, really good. Okay, I think I might be done with our art mediums. What do you guys say? I think I've used everything I had lined up. Well, if we aren't, it's okay. So let's go ahead and move these aside, and we're going to start building up on the base of our layout now. We have everything decorated. I'm carefully setting this stuff down. I'm going to have beads all over my whole scrap room. This is almost dry, so I think we're good to go. What I want to do is use a little bit of cheesecloth. And it's going to be bigger than my layout mat, which is sitting right here drying. So I kind of just need to know where that's going to be. And I love cheesecloth. It adds a really nice, airy, light appearance, kind of like a bridal. It looks bridal-ish to me. I love cheesecloth and adding it to projects. All I'm doing is tapping on a little tiny bit of glue in the center. All right, set that cheesecloth down. It is too large, but that's okay. We're going to scrunch it to create a little bit of movement so it's not so flat and boring, right? I'm going to just set my photo mat on there as a guide. I need to pull it out a little bit at the top. And I think I can push it in a little bit more, like right here, and maybe right there. And there, how fun is that? Now you can find cheesecloth at any craft store, and sometimes in the cooking department, because people used it actually to strain things, such as like if they were making raspberry jam or jelly, you want to get the seeds out and you would double up cheesecloth and strain it through there. My mom actually used it for that. Very different. I mean, it actually comes in from the cooking side, but here we are using it in arts and crafts. Okay, so I have my photo mat. It's not quite ready to go. It's not quite dry, but I'm going to just pretend it is. And I'm going to stick on some foam because you want to build up some dimension on your project. So I'm going to actually stick these on the cheesecloth instead of the back of the mat, because the mat's not quite dry yet. And that's okay. It's just going to pop it up a little bit. So when it is dry, we're ready to roll. And I need to pull this out a little bit more up here. Okay, so I'm just going to set it on there. We're just using that as a guide. And I want to show how I built up these flowers. So what I did is I cut out a bunch of the 4 and 5 leaf doily flowers. And I am going to squeeze we want to add some dimension to it, okay? So I'm going to squeeze just a little bit of glue kind of in the center like that. And what we're going to do is scrunch that up. Okay, you're going to get the glue on your fingers. And Fabri-Tac is the one I like to use. It can be a little messy, but it's really going to hold, and it's going to be beautiful and dimensional. How cute is that? You don't need them to be perfect. Kind of scrunch it till it's like holding its shape, and then just set it down. Let's do one with the 5 leaf. So just dab a little bit of glue in the center, and then just scrunch it up. These are not perfect by any means. And it only takes like 30 seconds and the Fabri-Tac starts to stick and you are good to go. So I already have 3 made. I need 5, so hopefully these will set up very quickly. But let me show you. It's on my fingers now. And on the Fabri-Tac, you basically can just rub it off. I created little centers for these flowers with this Memory Hardware Petite Rosette trim. I love this trim. It is so fun. So what you want to do, it comes like this. And you can use it on a mini album like that. It would be beautiful. I just need to find my scissors. You know how by the end of the show you have stuff everywhere. So what I'm going to do is cut these apart and use them as flower centers. And the little extra tool on each side, I'm going to leave that on because it makes it have just a little bit of extra dimension. I think it's really cute. If that bothers you, go ahead and cut it off, but they look like little wings to me. So we're just going to, a tiny little dab of glue. It's going to go right in the center of that flower, and we're going to let those dry a bit. And I noticed on the petite trim, some of the flowers are just a tad bit bigger than the others, which I love. It gives you a little bit of variety. Okay, so we're going to let these 2 dry. I already have 3 more made, and I'm going to show you how to go ahead and add these on. And all I did was I moved it not kitty corner, what's the word I'm looking for? Slightly off center from them, so you get that 3D dimensional look. All of mine seem to be 5 flowers. And we're going to put that one there, and maybe this one up here. Do you see how much dimension you get off of that already? So I did run all the flowers with copy paper. It's like my favorite go-to. Carrie's asking. So this is all copy paper run through, and you get the very light doily-like flowers. And oh my gosh, it's so inexpensive, and they look like little snowflakes, but they're very wedding-ish too. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on. I really want my photo frame on, so I might actually put that on first so I can build up around it, even though it's a bit soggy. I did a lot of art mediums, and sometimes they just take a little bit of time to dry. You could totally zap any of these with your heat gun and get it done faster. So let's just peel off some of the foam. And we don't need to do all of it. I'm just kind of going to set this on here and build up around it. And I can go back and fix it once everything's dry. So what we're going to do is I want some of the flowers to like lap over the frame just a little bit. So I put a dab of glue just in the center. That allows you to go and build and move and tuck things under it. So these two are coming up onto the frame a little bit. Let's go ahead and finish the other three. And again, move them slightly off of the paper that's underneath them, or the flower that's under them, so you get a really cool dimensional look. And we got one more up here in the corner. Okay, so these flowers were just the Prima dies, the flower dies, copy paper, and the rosette trim. We put one on, the bottom one on with the gel, let it dry, and then we took another one and scrunched it up in the center with a little bit of glue to make it dimensional. Okay, we're ready to add our photo. And you know, I always get my pictures messy, so I'm going to take a clean piece of paper and just go ahead and put foam squares on this. You want to pop your layers up, especially if you are putting this on a photo frame. If it's going into an album, you can flatten things down a lot. But I love to create the dimension on a project that's going on my wall. And you know, if you are going to hang it up, the foam squares do have adhesive on the back, but I put a little bit of the Fabri-Tac on each one. I have never had my Fabri-Tac fall apart, and I travel with my projects. They get a lot of wear and tear. So it can be a little stringy. Sometimes that glue can be a little bit messy, but oh my gosh, it holds like magic. Okay, I don't even think I have that on there straight. We're going to go ahead and just tuck this in so you kind of get the full visual effect of what it's going to look like. Pretend that's down there and it's all perfect, okay? It's really coming together now. Do you remember those little green foliage things that we punched out and added beads to? I did some extras last night, so I have 6 hopefully that are dry, but I mixed in the wet ones, so I really can't tell now. But we're going to stick some of these foliage around each of them, but the ones on the photo are going to get the green beads. And just like real foliage, we're only going to glue the stem. So you put a little dab on the stem, and we're going to tuck that in under the flower. Some of the beads might fall off when you're handling it. That's okay. So a little dab of glue on the end, and these are really going to pop the attention to the photo, because this Kelly green is just gorgeous. So have those pop out, and they kind of naturally curl up when you put a gel medium on. How fun is that? You see how it's popping the green already? So people are talking about weddings. You know, I got all 3 of my girls married now. Woohoo! 2 of them in the same year. I thought I was going to die. But Brianna, her wedding, she definitely did it in her style. It was very elegant, very classic. She wanted a smaller wedding. It's funny how you see your kid's personality come out with things like that. Where Britt was... oh my gosh, if she could have had 600 people here, she would have. So I'm missing one of my leaves. Let me see if I have some more. I do. Here we go. Britt had a huge wedding, and she spent a year working on stuff, which is typical of her personality. So it's fun. Each of the girls had a wedding that totally fit them, and they were all beautiful. And I'm done with my girls getting married. But now I have a son that's getting married. And I am just as involved, I swear, it's just as much work. Okay, so we have that, and I just have, I think, one more thing I need to do. I love to use vellum and my little punches. I think vellum adds a really sweet touch. It's very subtle. You probably wouldn't even see it right away. But on those other flowers, I'm going to punch out, okay, it's sticking, a couple frosted vellum foliage pieces. And I got this frosted vellum at Hobby Lobby. It comes in a 10-pack, and it's up where the paper pads are. And it comes in clear, frosted, and gold. And these little stems are going to go under the other flowers. And I'm not going to do all of them, but I'm just going to show you one just as a sample. And then I think I have one more little thing to do. Just a little dab of glue on the stem, and then just tuck it underneath the flower. And when everything dries, you could go back and pump these, like curl these up a little bit more. You're going to get so much dimension with those. And you can use the doilies or the punches to put in leaves or anything extra that you like. So, any questions on what I have so far? I just need to find one more product. Here we go. The layout itself, the photo, I mean, I wanted it to be extra special, so I pulled out some of my Ingville Bohm corners. They're shabby chic resins. Oh my gosh, they're just beautiful. And I glued them to the corners of the photo. And I just think they add that classy, elegant touch that is perfect for this layout. So let me just, I have a bunch to pick from, so we have a ton of corners that you can pick from. I just want to see, what else did I do? Yeah, so I have the fatter ones on the bottom. And all you do is put a little bit of glue on this and then put them on your photo. And I'm just going to set them on there because if I glue it right now, I'll probably mess up my picture. But you're going to get the same effect if I just set it on there. How cute is that? So you have, they really just pull the whole project together, the little corners. So I think I got everything done. And let me just tell you my little trick. When you're working with art mediums on the paper and you need this to lie flat and you want to frame it, you want it to last, you spent a lot of time on this, I buy mat board. It's an artist board. And again, I found it at a craft store. You can get 12 by 12 packs. And let me see, I don't think I have my... Yes, I do have it right here. It is so inexpensive. It's $5.99, and you get 35 pieces, multiple colors, and it's just amazing. I use it to mat the photos that I'm gonna frame. And what I would do is once this is totally dry, I would totally run a tape runner or glue on the back and glue that baby down, and it's going to lie flat and it's going to give you some extra support. So any questions on that? Let me just pull up the finished one. This is the one we did tonight, and then this is the finished one. And I put it in a gray frame from Prima, so that's the only difference. You can see, I think the stenciling is much cleaner when you put the beads on right away. I just think the results are much cleaner, and it's just gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to pop this up real quick. And I'm going to just hold that up so maybe you can get a better view of it. And try to hold still. Do you guys have any questions at all? Louise on our design team is the one who kind of opened up my eyes to the mat board. She actually creates her projects right on it. A lot of her wet art medium projects, she starts on a mat board. So I was like, I need to go get some of that. Maybe I can zoom in on this. You can see the sparkles. They're very subtle, they're very classy. You get dimension on those flowers and kind of add an elegant touch. This would be so cool as a winter project, a wedding. Whoops. What a great gift this would be for an engagement or a wedding gift. Would that be fun? Okay. Is Eileen here? Hey, Eileen. So the mat board at Hobby Lobby I found, I think it's in like where the watercolor paper and the art mediums are, and I'm sure you can get it anywhere because it's photo mat, right? It's what they cut to create the mats for your pictures before they frame them. Okay, I ran a little tiny bit over. I'm just going to stop the record, but if you have any questions, let me know. I have 2 announcements to make real quickly. One, our next class is Tuesday. It will be at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and that is 2 p.m. Eastern time, sorry. And it's going to be with Frank, and he is finishing this gorgeous album you got to see with a ton of new CHA products. Our other thing is our January kit, our special delivery kit just went live. And, okay, Carrie, help me out. I had the name in my head. It's something to do with love. Because it's going to be for February, right? By the time you get it, you're going to start thinking of February projects. So, oh my gosh, the name is beautiful and I cannot think of the name. But Carrie will type it in and she'll give a link. You can find it on livewithprima.com. And there are a limited amount. We've been selling out of our special delivery kits, so don't wait. You've got to get it. It has some beautiful products in there. Carrie's just saying Tuesday is Frank, the second half of his album. He's going to work on the inside pages. And that again is right here on the same Ustream channel. And Carrie will post on our blog and our Facebook with the link and everything. And then the special delivery kit is called Love Crush. That's what it is. Isn't that cute? Okay. And that's available right now. You got to run and get it. So let me go ahead and just save the class real quick. Thank you for coming. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'll be on the chat as soon as I stop this, so that I can answer any questions you might have. But thank you for coming tonight to Live with Prima. I'm Sharon. I'm here with a bunch of the new CHA releases, and I hope you had fun. Bye-bye.